Hey guys and girls, just wanted to check in real quick, and I'll be teaching English early in the morning until 9 a.m. So I wanted to go ahead and just say hello and good evening or good morning whenever you see this, and just let you know that I did put a couple things up on the math classroom. I put your workbook page answers to today's work and tomorrow's, just so you can kind of get some feedback on how well you're doing with that. I also wanted to show you that I have an example of a graphic organizer that you could do tomorrow to kind of summarize your understanding of composing and decomposing fractions. I just did a little quick flip chart. I titled it Lesson 9-2, and then I also had a section for composing fractions and decomposing fractions. So just like this morning or yesterday, when I kind of told everyone that if you think about composing fractions is like joining it with glue, two fractions combining together to create another fraction, and then decomposing fractions would be like taking a hammer and breaking it apart. So I have just a visual of a hammer, or my version of a hammer, and I have break it up, and then I have a glue, a bottle of glue that says join it. Obviously, when you complete this tomorrow, you will just lift up the flap and put some information about both composing fractions and decomposing fractions, as well as some examples that will allow you to see the process. I do know that this lesson 9-2 did not really deal too much with composing fractions, so there's no need to stress. If you can't find enough information on composing fractions, you can either look it up on the internet, maybe get some ideas from that, or just kind of put a couple examples of what you think it might be. No stress is needed. Again, no stress. There's a quick little shout out to my man Carson. I forgot to mention you this morning. I sincerely apologize there, buddy. I had to search deep for an empty bottle of Penn tennis balls. I think my dog Jersey had gotten a hold of this a little bit. This is a shout out to you there, little man. Hope you're doing well, as is the family. Now back to this. I was looking at the workbook pages and I saw that there was a couple problems that had mixed numbers. Remember, a mixed number would be any number that has a whole number and a fractional part. And I didn't really go over that in terms of how you would do that. If you remember that anything that has a whole number, essentially you think of that being, if we're looking at our denominator and this whole thing is out of eighths, right? Then what this would look like would be, if I'm thinking about a model drawing, this would be two holes where each of those holes are divided up into eighths. I know this is quick, but they are my eighths, and then I would have one hole shaded in, so that would be this entire part. Let me get my blue marker, excuse me. And if I had this whole thing shaded in, that would be, and if I was in class and I said raise your hand, and this would be 8/8, right? And then there would be 6 of the eighths of the second one. So this essentially, if I broke this apart, one possibility to do this would be 1 6/8 is equal to this whole thing, which is 8/8, plus 6/8. So that's one way. Now, how many eighths is that altogether? Well, if I counted 8 plus 6, that gives me, another way to think of this is 14/8, and that would be what we call an improper fraction, and we'll get to that at some point this year. So if I wanted to decompose 1 6/8 or 14/8, again, I could just think about how can I break apart 14/8? Well, 1 6/8 would also be equal to, you just want to think about any combination of 14. So I could have like 1/8 plus 2/8. So far that's 3, so I need 11 more. So I could do, 4/8. That's 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. oh, I need 7 more to get 14, so I can just add 7/8. So even though that may have kind of raised that stress level a little bit, don't be too stressed, okay? You can do this. 1 6/8 is the same exact thing as 1 whole plus 6 additional eighths, and that will be how you do that. So in case you kind of did that incorrectly today at your house, no need to worry. Maybe just go back and practice a couple. Maybe have mom and dad give you a couple problems, and you could do that same thing with any problem you want. Again, this is your YouTube sensation in the making. Yeah, other than that, you guys are awesome. Don't forget that. I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Peace.